He writes, quote, "To become free and responsible for this alone was man created." He too played his part, acted out well the role that had been given him. In his diary he observes, "Night is drawing nigh, for all that has been, thanks. To all that shall be, yes." To repeat one's yes to life is to experience meaning. He observes, quote, "When everything has a meaning, how can you live anything but a yes?" It was Whit Sunday in 1961 when he said yes to someone or something, and from that hour he saw existence as meaningful and self-surrendered to the mystery in marvel. He never looked back, but followed Ariadne's thread through the labyrinth of his life, and like Frankl turned his tortures into triumph. Realising in a remarkably similar fashion to Frankl that nothing could be taken from me, as he wrote. Like Frankl, he was fascinated by the sorrows and days of men. The poet Auden said about him, "He was a great, good and lovable man." The same can be said of Viktor Emil Frankl and of his beautiful wife Ellie, whom I had the privilege of meeting a few months ago in Vienna and who's been described as the warmth that accompanied the light. She told me Viktor would have loved you. I'm still trying to work that one out. These great men and women resisted the night and turned to the light, attracted by the good. To paraphrase Plato, we can easily forgive children who are afraid of the dark. The real tragedy is when men are afraid of the light. Our lives are not transferable. We are born once only. Twice is not permitted us. Each person must face the frightening responsibility accruing from freedom of becoming more than we are, of forging those immortal footprints in our time. As the poet Longfellow put it, lives of great men all remind us we must make our lives sublime, and when departing leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. So to conclude, saying yes to life requires employing the higher energy from the noetic core of the person, what Frankl calls the defiant power of the human spirit, aptly described by Shakespeare when he writes in Julius Caesar, "Nor airless dungeons nor strong links of iron can be retentive to the strength of spirit." They didn't hold Nelson Mandela in his cell for 27 years, nor Viktor Frankl either. Mandela loved the poem penned by an Englishman, William Henley, called Invictus. "Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I think whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." In the dark nights of their desolation, Nelson Mandela and Viktor Frankl said yes. The words of Therese of Lisieux are apposite. "If dark clouds," she writes, "would hide you from my gaze, so that it seems that after this night there is a night only darker still, the night of utter nothingness, that would be the hour of greatest joy, the hour in which to push my confidence to its uttermost limits." They were pushed to the limits by blows of fate, but their mental and spiritual attitude was unmovable. Finally, let me finish with the words of the Catholic theologian Hans Kung, who himself said yes to the meaning of life in joy and trust, guarded by mystery, believing with Frankl that self-transcendence is the essence of human existence. He singles out Viktor Frankl's Logotherapy as a therapy that precisely addresses the question of the meaning of being. Kung says yes to a primal foundation of meaning, to the absolutely first and absolutely last reality. He speaks a yes against the nihilism of Nietzsche, where why finds no answer. Kung's affirmative attitude is Frankl's too. It ascends to the ground of meaning, to what he calls the suprasensible ground of meaning of all our reality in the midst of the world of sense. So let us, for our part, affirm the intrinsic meaningfulness of life in a spirit of faith and hope and love, refuse resignation and weary cynicism, and say yes, yes, and again yes, in the words of Molly Bloom's soliloquy that concludes Joyce's Ulysses. Yes, I said yes, I will, yes. Thank you very much.